Back to another daily Buying of Isaac Repentance. It is January 6, 2023. A little bit late in the evening. Yeah, later than usual. It's like 10:30 at night. Oh my god. What's going on here? Oh my god. I got so many tangled wires. Can I say that? Yeah, I got so many of these tangled wires. This is like my head spin. I gotta like untangle this because it's like I got so many wires connected to so many different things. It's just nuts. Okay. Recording. Yeah. Let's see. Everything going all right here. Let's just make sure. A little bit of a frame droppage. That might be because the game was kicking on. I don't know. All right. Yeah. Today's been kind of a pain in the butt. So yesterday I was having issues. It started yesterday where I was having issues with my router and it would not show me the 5 gigahertz network all of a sudden. I'm like, okay. So I tried some different things, resetting the router, tried just a bunch of stuff, right? And so I thought to myself, okay, maybe the Wi-Fi chip is going out on this this router, which I hope to God it didn't, because 5 gigahertz can transfer a faster signal than a 2 gigahertz signal. And so I didn't want to run into that issue, especially if I got devices like my phone or something where I need to rely on high speed. And so anyways, that was going on, and then I ended up converting the signal to like, oh, was it like 144 man, what is it called? That didn't give me what I wanted here, damn it. I converted the signal to like 144 for the channel or something like that. And let's see, we'll grab this. See if we can get some goodies out of this play. Feel blessed, huh? I don't feel so blessed. And it kind of worked, but the problem was there was a very small distance you have to be in order to connect to the router. And not to mention you have to be right next to the router in some occasions. All right, we might die here, and that's okay. That's okay. All right, just enough for a little survivability here. I know I was a 10 in rock, my little dude. Great. And so then I had that issue. It's like, okay, so I'm going to connect to my 2 point whatever network and just deal with it. And occasionally I could just try to connect to my 5 gigahertz network. Okay. And then I started tweaking some things today because I think there was some issues going on. Like I wasn't connecting right or something like that, right? And you know what? Let's just go down the next floor, whatever. Like some of the connections wasn't working right on my phone. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I checked in the Xbox, and then I had like a very strict NAT. I'm like, what the hell? Why would I have a strict NAT? Like all my settings are like fine. I could tell. And I was like, you know what? I am tired with this crap. I'm going to try to reset the firmware. So I went backwards with the firmware. I rolled back some updates to pick a particular firmware version. Actually, before I did that, I resetted the settings. completely. So I wiped out all the settings. And keep in mind here too, I'm using DDWRT. So it's an open source firmware that I flashed onto the router. And anyways, so the first thing that came to mind is like, okay, I'm going to just reset all the settings on there, get it some fresh settings and da-da-da. Hopefully it fixed it. Nope. Not only it didn't fix it, it made things worse. I couldn't even connect to the router on my computer or on my phone. It's like, okay. Actually, no, I did reset all the settings. And then I put in some new settings, and then I saved it. And then for some reason, it broke it. When I restored settings from, I guess, a different version of my router or whatever. It was settings from a different no, it would have been settings from that router or something like, I don't know. I have so many setting files from different versions because I routinely make updates and stuff like that. And kept having issues. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to just roll back any kind of updates whatsoever and try a different version. So I tried a different version of the program. Then that worked until I tried restoring certain settings, and then that wasn't working. So it's a lot of back and forth. And then eventually I went through and I thought, you know what? I'm going to try to use the thing that's on the router database website, which ironically that same website said, oh, don't use the router database stuff, because it may not work right, It's like, well, why do you even offer the damn firmware? Is that just a thing that you initially install when you first flash the system? I suppose that's the only explanation, because that would make sense. So you'll need it to flash it, so you need the earliest version of that particular thing to get it to work. Oh, don't make me laugh, Queen of Hearts. You just... So anyways, I was fighting all that. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to reset with whatever. And it wasn't until after I was in the middle of resetting it that I read the instructions like, oh, don't do that. And I'm like, oh, well, too late now. And so I was expecting that it could probably possibly brick it, because I've done that a couple of times, putting the wrong firmware in there. Because okay, so what's confusing is it's a AD 7200 or AR 7200, this router serial number on the thing, but its reference is R9000 technically under the router stuff. So sometimes there's a couple of times where I break the damn thing where I accidentally put the wrong upgrade in it, which being it would have been, I would get an R7200 instead of a R9000, and I was confusing the R7200 with the AR. Yeah, 1 second here. We got it. Oh, just 2. That's just splendid. Yeah. The other one would be interesting, right? But I'm going to just skip on that. All right, down to the next floor. Shrimples that. And I bricked it a couple of times. There's ways to fix it. It's just a pain in the ass. You have to essentially plug your router in the computer, and then you have to like put the firmware in there, and you got to do like a flashing bit. It's tedious. You have the specific software. Oh my god. I've done it a couple times. It's not fun. So anyways, back to the story here. So I got the original whatever build, right? And of course there were some issues like the graphics wasn't working right. Some of the menu options were like missing certain pages. I'm like, great. So then I upgraded it to March of last year. That was matching with the firmware to my settings, one of my settings. And things were working okay. So I put my settings in there again. And I didn't break it. I locked myself out again somehow. I was like, son of a bitch. So then I had to like reset the router again. Go back to the default settings. And then I upgraded the firmware to the latest one. And then by golly, like after tediously put the settings in there manually again, it worked. In fact, I was testing little things out one at a time, the settings, to hopefully it doesn't like screw something up. And sure enough, the issue I had with my 5 gigahertz network, that was like, you know, you had to be such a short range to connect to it, or else you just lose out of it, or if you're not in the right channel with the damn thing, it doesn't work anymore, kind of deal. I got it all to work normally again. I don't know what the fuck happened, but I got it to work again. And then I fixed the whole port issue, so everything's working again for the Xbox. And I'm like, shit. And that just took like, I don't know how many hours. A couple hours or so. Probably more than a couple hours, because it was all this trial and error. Good God. I'm not upgrading the firmware ever again. And I'm kind of thinking, what could have caused it in the beginning for that 5 gigahertz thing not to work last night? I thought to myself, okay, maybe it has something to do with the Wi-Fi chip getting knocked out. But now I'm thinking maybe something got jumbled in the settings. Because I was trying to fix a different issue that I've had for months or over a year. And that was like, every time somebody tries to connect their thing in here, their say iPhone or something like that, network completely gets just shits bricks. Just cannot take it. And I kind of wonder, because I adjusted those settings originally, that probably did it. That somehow did it, even though nothing was like wrong at first until like the next morning. I think it was the next morning I had that issue, or probably that night, the night before. I don't know if that's what caused it. I don't know what caused it. I mean, I feel like that's probably what it was. It was just like the settings were just so freaking jumbled and stuff. Maybe adding those changes there too on top of everything just made things just increasingly worse. And I must have like, I don't know, maybe just the DDWRT and everything else wasn't working right, because settings were conflicting. Some settings were missing from this version and that version, kind of deal, maybe. In either case, I fixed it. Now, as far as the iPhone thing, well, I probably didn't. I'm going to have to figure that one out. I'm going to try maybe the settings again. Probably not tonight, because that's the last thing I need, is just it going out tonight, and I'll be like, oh, no internet tonight. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to have to deal with it tonight. No, I'm not going to do that. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm already burnt out from messing with it tonight. Oh, man. As frustrating as DDWRT is, like real frustrating, with its just shit ton of settings that most of them I have no clue what I'm doing with it. I just leave them. I'll just leave those settings alone. It's extremely useful. All right, that thing. Extremely useful. Because I have a Nighthawk X10 I got used a couple years ago. Oh, about a couple of years ago. After my last router crapped out after having it for 10 years. That was such a good router. Linksys. E3000. That's what the model number was. That was really good. Really sophisticated back then. Still up to this point now, too. That was really good. Too bad it took a shit. I didn't get rid of it. I have it still. I'm thinking maybe there's something in there that could be fixed. It's a really good router. I use that thing, man, since 2010. Crapped out and, let's see. 2010, I think it crapped out in 2020, maybe. Right? Or 2021? Something like that. I think it crapped out in 2020. Maybe. No, it would have been 2021 it crapped out. So I had it for 11 years. Because I had to get a new router. I had another router too that I gave someone. No, you know what? Maybe it did crap out in 2020. And then I got a replacement in 2020. And then that replacement I gave to somebody. Because it's too slow because of it's not good enough for the speeds that I'm pulling from the internet. But it's good for this person that's using it. So, yeah. Plus, it's open source. Do I want that? Yeah, I guess. Oh, you know what? Wait. We can get conjoined. Yeah. Might be kind of a waste, but whatever. It's not bad. No, I open sourced that one. My E3000, I did not. I actually used the actual firmware in there, and that was before I knew much about open source firmware. Otherwise, yeah, I probably would have open sourced it if I knew about it sooner. Sister Maggie, by the way. Duplicating Sister Maggie just to get, like, some conjoined thing. All right. Sausage! Get your meats! Where are we? The Acropolis one. Holy shit. We are not doing well on time. Abel? Well, we could have got the conjoin from Abel, but whatever. It's important we got a whole ass. So yeah, tonight, yesterday, whatever. Just kind of curse things going on. If you work with DDWRT, keep in mind the forums, and I swear to God, this is true with most of the feedback on the forums. It's old Greek to me. Like, swear to God, like, it's like, oh yeah, I tried to clear your NMV ramp or whatever it's called. Yeah, I've cleared that and they'll fix it, which it essentially means clear your settings completely and start anew. Things like that. It's like, oh, try this one with the beacon. Set it to 0 instead of 1. I don't know how people find out about this stuff. It's like, oh, check out this setting. This ancient setting. This should usually fix the culprit. Just... I don't know. Oh yeah, we got these, don't we? Yeah. Oh baby. Democles is something, right? But I'm gonna just say no to Democles. It's good, but like, I don't want to get killed. And we're kind of like near the end of things anyways here. I need my health too. With what little I got.
Retro tears down.
Shrimples that. Okay. Gotta get the boss rush. I think I missed... No, I lost yesterday's run, that's right. So there was not even like any close to being at boss rush with that. Yeah, if you work with DDWRT, just keep in mind that, yes, it's going to be extremely tedious to work with. If you don't know what you're doing, trust me, there's... The flashing thing is all kinds of just... What the fuck? I'll say that. I guess the newer routers from I was reading, it's like easier to flash them or something like that. We're not going to make the boss rush. We're just so behind right now. Holy shit. Be a damn miracle right now. Oh my god! Oh shit. Go, go, go. No! Yeah, now we need a miracle because we got less than 20 seconds to kill her. Fuck it. Don't be Krampus. Don't be Krampus, you f... Alright. We made it by the hair of our chin. No. Yachts. And we just gotta stay alive. Like, if you can have the patience to flash a router, which the older ones... I guess it's older routers, from what I was reading, that are the ones that are a little bit more difficult to flash for some reason. But supposedly the new ones are better. Like, the last router I had, before I had this router, my last one I flashed, that one you had to like time everything and then push like some kind of force this firmware into it. Which is like the original firmware, like pre-factory made. Like, I don't even know where people find this stuff. Like, pre-factory made firmware. That means like if there's firmware that is, that means if you get the router or something in the store, that's the firmware that's shipped in the factory when it was installed. And for some reason, people have like the pre-factory stuff. I mean, sometimes the router websites do have that, of course, but there's people out there somehow have it, and the companies are not giving that up. Case in point, my current router, I had to do that. Some website had to have something like that, I think. So, yeah, the whole purpose is you got to push as early as you can with a version. It's going to be working with flashing, because the later ones have like security features where you can't flash your own custom firmware stuff. And then once you flash that on there, because you can't go back and be like, oh yeah, I want to choose this firmware instead of this other firmware from the manufacturer's like firmware stuff. So if you want the previous version on the Linksys or something like that, it's like, oh no, you can't do that, LOL. Because you already installed the latest one, you can't go back. You have to force it in there with some software. Now with DDWRT, shit, you can go back any kind of version you want or forward of DDWRT. But of course, the catch is if you want to go back to the original firmware that came with the router, you have to reflash it. Not that hard to do. Just reflash it back to like factory. Well, I guess I wouldn't say it's not that hard to do, but even though I just said it was very tedious. I guess it's not that hard to do if you've done it a number of times. If it's your first time, well, yeah, you just gotta have to be careful. Almost got me hit there. All right. It's that hard item. That's just garbage. And I'm not going to go to Hush unless I get something that's going to give me a bunch of health and a bunch of other goodies. That's a start. I guess we could check in here. I mean, that's a hell of a risk. Again, I already have like enough familiars here. Game. I guess we play you, even though I waste my points. But who cares about points at this rate? Because I'm never going to get the first place. Haha. Oh, no, you little bastard. I don't want to give you anything. So, yeah. That's been kind of my night. Well, at least I didn't have to go on the forums and try to figure it out. I had a general idea how to fix some stuff. Could have got more health there, but whatever. Unless we get another penny here. Wow, there it is, and there I don't get it. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Okay. Down the next floor. Yeah, I'm glad I fixed whatever the hell I fixed that I've broken somehow. In the end, I fixed something I didn't think it was going to get fixed, and I wasn't intending to get fixed because I was like pretty much lost all hope that I was going to fix it, and somehow I fixed it. So it worked out. I'm grateful for that. And you might be wondering, well, what's the use of DDWRT? And they got other versions too, like or the tomato and something else. Those are like their own kind of versions of open source. I picked DDWRT because, you know, I read about it. I'm like, okay, I'll just pick that. I don't know what the advantages are with having one or the other. So, yeah. They're all good, I guess. I mean, they're all open source, so yeah. But yeah, the reason why I picked this thing is because it gave me a lot more options to choose from when it comes to like editing settings. Because when I got my new router, not this router, but my last one, they dumbed down the settings significantly for the users. And what I mean by that is, so my E3000 had a bunch of settings, right? Linksys. Then I had another Linksys, which was a much of a lesser model. Newer, of course. And made it where it's like the settings were just too simple to understand. And they're very incomplete when it comes to like want to tweak something, which I've done quite a bit of tweaking with my E3000. And this just didn't have it. I'm like, I'm going to flash this thing. And it was a lot harder to flash the damn thing than I realized. That's why I went the route of flashing. Eventually it worked. But then I found out later on that while my router is not giving me the speed capacity too, on top of it, after I... Was it after? No. Well, no, I guess maybe... Yeah, I don't think it was giving me the speed capacity or something was going on. Oh, no. My router had like a minimum of how fast it can go, right, speed-wise. But before I changed my internet service to make it faster, I got a new router, I think. I think that's how it worked, yeah. And then I had to get new cables, of course, because the new cables were going to make things, like, real nice. All right, well, let's go fight this. You know what? We might as well go fight Hush now. We're sitting better. Sitting pretty. And what better way to get more points than going to Hush? We're getting a bunch of damage and things like that. Oh my goodness, Dark Judas, sure. And that fucked with my health a little bit, but, you know. It's whatevers. Maybe we'll be fine. All right. Let's see. Try it. All right. Oh. Host hat. Knockout tears. Oh, yeah. 10 around. We can clear this floor here. Nothing in here, okay. And what card is that? I think that's Hermit. Yeah, that won't really save me too much. Oh shit. Curving tears, alright. Punch the crap out of them. Just punch the life out of them. Shielded Tears will give us a little bit of protection. Tears rate's not the greatest right now. We'll punch the crap out of Hush, though. So yeah, I did it because I wanted settings where I can go and play around with them. I never played around with the A or the X10 settings on the router, like the general settings too much. I imagine they're pretty similar too, maybe a little bit more expanded because of the higher quality router. But I still wanted a DDWRT, and that one was actually easier to do. Much easier. I'm like, holy shit. Because rather than just, like flashing it and timing it and everything like that, I need just to flash it with a very simple way of just uploading the firmware onto the router naturally, like you do normally with the router, if you just use it, you know, in general with, you know, its general firmware that came with it. You can do it that way. I was like, holy shit, isn't this easy? So the last one, you had to like plug it into your computer, and then you had to like get the special like software that looks like it came from Windows 98 or XP or something. And then you have to push it down in there. That was another thing too. It's like you have to turn off that particular router. Then as it's booting up, you have to keep pressing, you know, push whatever option to try to push it in there. And you have to do it like multiple times before it finally like, you know, you got it in there the nick of time. And then once you do that, then you can go in and be like, okay, let's upgrade this DDWRT with this version and stuff like that. And go in there and play with the settings too. I think I had to do that a couple times because I kept messing up with something with it. If I'm thinking if that's the right one I'm thinking of. I think I messed up on both the routers. But no, DDWRT, really good if you're good with computers and like decent with computers and want to tweak something with your router stuff. There you go. Now, I haven't found a way to do the firmware stuff. Not firmware stuff, but the VPN stuff on there. That's a little trickier. So I'll leave that alone. Now I have to figure out about the whole Apple's devices not connected to it for some reason. Because when it tries to connect to it, then it just like knocks out my internet in general. So when I'm connected to it, it just knocks out my internet completely. I don't know why. It just does. But maybe fixing all this tonight, maybe it fixed that problem too, but part of me thinks that's not the case. Some kind of like wireless interference. Man, we're actually kind of powerful here. We got Dark Judas just in case something goes south, so... Alright. Like right now. Let's just not lose... Holy shit! Did you just see him just zoom across the map? If that was like another frame difference or something like that, he could have just like freaking whomped me right there. Oh no, we were immune to his feet. No, we're not. Apparently. What? Okay, whatever, we won. 250th place. Okay, well, you know. Despite doing hush and everything else, I'm a little flabbergasted. 60,000, 50,000. There must have been something that some people did that broke it. And what was mine? 37,000. I don't know what happened there. Anyways, I think that'll do it for tonight. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.